Next, it's time for Wanna See It. As promised last week, I went and saw Medea Goes to Jail because I love Tyler Perry and I love the Medea movies, and I went and saw it. And I have to tell you a couple things. First of all, there's a little false advertising with the title Medea Goes to Jail, because Medea goes to jail for the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So there was that. I was like, is she ever gonna go to jail? It's just like, yeah. And I mean, I know Tyler Perry's tired of playing Medea. I've heard him say that before, but it's not really a Medea movie because it's more the story around Derek Luke and Keisha Knight Pulliam's characters.
Okay.
And she's sort of, Medea is sort of a supporting character. And
isn't she normal? She normally kind of.
yeah, but she's always still a major part of the movie, and I didn't feel that this time. It just felt the play version, the stage play version of Medea Goes to Jail is so hilarious, one of the funniest of all the Medea plays. So I was actually really excited about the movie, and it was the movie was quite a bit of a letdown from the stage play version. It still had funny scenes in it, but I definitely say you could rent it on DVD or you could wait for it to come on cable. You've probably seen most of the funny scenes watching the commercials. Mm-hmm. So I was a bit sad.
Well, there you go. But for this week, not really much to choose from unless you're a girl or.
Well, yeah, neither one of us are 13-year-old girls
or
like 15-year-old boys.
Yeah, so Jonas Brothers in 3D, their concert, in the vein of the Miley Cyrus one that made a lot of money. So of course they're going to milk that for all it's worth. And then Chun-Li, the Legend of Street Fighter, or Legend of Street Fighter Chun-Li, or
whatever.
No one's going to see this
movie. So basically, if you're a parent, you send the daughter off to one theater to see the Jonas Brothers, you send the son off to the other theater to see Street Fighter, and you get about an hour and a half break.
Don't see the Echelon Conspiracy.
Don't see the Echelon Conspiracy, because, you know, if you loved all the plot madness of Eagle Eye, and you needed a little more, then I guess you could see the Echelon Conspiracy. But I think it's going to be out on DVD in 5 minutes, and you can see it then.
Yeah. Shane Weston even goes back to ER, apparently. So we have a new thing we're going to talk because I liked looking at the box office stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So this
breaking
last week,
down the numbers.
Yeah, I like breaking down the numbers. But this week I found a lot to talk about, so I just want to talk about a few things. So Medea did have a really good weekend.
Oh, it did, yeah.
About $41 million, which is really good for just a movie in general.
Right. 16 of it they got from me.
Yeah, so there you go. Another big thing is how well Taken is doing, the Liam Neeson movie.
Yeah, nobody's expecting that.
As of Wednesday, it's at $97 million.
And that's just domestically.
And that's in 4 weeks. And it's been in the top, 3 or 4 every single week. And it hasn't been dropping almost at all, and it's just been holding steady. And I think that's, what's going on.
I think that's word of mouth. I think people who are going to see it are telling other people, nobody's talking about it, but go see this Liam Neeson movie. And if it's making that much domestically, the international box office total is probably
it's
well
over.
Double that.
Yeah, it's doing really well overseas, too. And for, Liam Neeson, can you remember the last time he did an action movie?
Right.
I'm thinking in my head maybe Rob Roy.
He's done a lot of dramas and stuff lately. So
it's a very, very good choice on his part.
Yeah.
So and Maggie Grace, Famke Janssen, so really good. On the other side of the coin is Friday the 13th, which did really well its first weekend. I think it did $45-46 million, and it's wow, that's yes, I contributed to that. The next week, 80% drop.
Well, sure.
80% is bad.
I get that, but I get why it has a drop-off like that, because those kinds of movies have a very specific audience.
Yeah.
Much like the Tyler Perry movies, like Medea may have made $40 million the first weekend, but it'll also have a drop-off, because everybody who wants to see those type of movies will go the first weekend, and then after that, they're not interested.
Yeah, and I looked up this thing. There's only 5 or 6 movies in the history of motion pictures, recorded box office stuff, that dropped off 80%. So that's
really,
yeah. Most times you get a 60 in the 60 to 70 range.
80 is huge,
but 80 is pretty bad.
That's just everybody going to see it and telling everybody they know, do not go anywhere near the theater.
Yeah. Or they could just tell them, here's what happens. They get stabbed in the head, and they're like, oh, okay, I got it. I'm going to keep bugging you with that. Another huge story that happened is The Dark Knight passed $1 billion.
Finally, yeah.
I think it was on last Thursday night, internationally, because because it's not really making much, you know. It's still in a few maybe dollar theaters in the United States, but it's on DVD now. So the box office, just receipts, not counting DVDs or anything else, is over $1 billion.
And I believe that puts it at 4th place
yes.
on the all-time box office list. Behind Titanic is number 1.
Yes.
It's just in front of Harry Potter.
Yeah, and I think Lord of the Rings is up
Lord
there.
Of the Rings
Pirates
is like
of the
number
Caribbean.
2. Lord of the Rings is number 2. Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest is number 3.
Yeah, so that's a huge thing, especially for Warner Brothers, who had never had a movie cross the $1 billion threshold.
Right.
So that's what we were talking about before. Is this is more bragging rights than anything else? That
really?
They can say like, "Ha, we've got," and it was especially like, you know, I don't want to say bittersweet, but to announce it right before the Oscars to say like $1 billion.
Right.
You know, we don't need your Oscar. We got $1 billion.
Exactly. So, we all know what's really the best picture of the year.
Yeah, and so everyone in the world does. And the last thing we're going to talk about is, especially in this recession, when the economy's, you know, so in a horrible state, that movies are doing so well. Last year, I think it took a couple, maybe 3 or 4 months to get a movie that crossed $100 million. We're going to have 2 January movies, Paul Blart Mall Cop and Taken, by the end of this weekend, that have crossed $100 million. So that's saying something, you know, and how great Friday the 13th did on its first weekend, Medea.
Because, you know, as expensive as it is to go to the movies, like I said, you know, my mom and I went to a movie and it was $16. That's still cheap compared to the other forms of entertainment that are available out there. Yeah. So, I mean, like there was a NASCAR race this weekend, and like the cheapest ticket for one person was $35.
Wow.
So,
jeez.
Which is pretty cheap for a NASCAR race, but comparatively, you know, it's much cheaper to go to a movie.
Yeah. Oh, forgot.
No, the Joker watch.
Joker watch. This is the last time you'll be seeing
last this. Joker watch of the season.
He won the Oscar. It was great. His family. We forgot to talk about that. Yeah. Well, he has 32 wins, which is a great amount of wins for someone. His daughter will need a giant bookcase for all the awards that he's going to be getting.
And he deserves them all. Yes. So that was our final Joker watch.
I'm okay. All right. Little mishap there. We're okay. Let's get into some TV talk.
Right.
The Friday was the finale of Psych. It was the much hyped Yin Yang Killer.
Sean was going to be serious on this episode, and there was going to be a giant guest star.
Yes, and the giant guest star turned out to be a somewhat
recognizable
celebrity.
It wasn't that giant, but the way that this show loves the 80s, it makes sense.
Perfect. And I thought it was Ali Sheedy, and she did a great job, I thought.
Sure.
You know, she obviously will be coming back.
I think so.
And you know, and I loved the episode. I know you didn't quite like it.
It's not that I didn't like it. I just got, you know, for a season finale, I felt a little, you know, I thought the ending was great, but I don't know.
Spoil it for you.
I just felt slightly let down by it.
I liked it because it was a change of pace. It wasn't like all comedy. I think most of the comedy was left to Gus this time.
Right. Dule Hill got to do all the comedy.
But it was a good, you know, we got to wrap things up. We got to kind of, you know, everyone's feelings got out in the open.
Sure.
And so I'm changing the outlook of our show a little bit to make my ginormous announcement. Ready? This is earth-shattering. Everyone knows The Office is my favorite show of all time, you know, like on TV right now.
Okay.
Boop. Not anymore.
Really?
Psych is now my favorite show on television.
That's the earth-shattering announcement.
The Office of all shows that everyone knows I love, you know, and I talk about all the time, has now been bumped. Sorry.
That is huge news.
You must win me back.
That is huge news.
And you have many episodes to win me back, so don't mock me. Mock me.
I'm just saying, you kept me on the edge of my seat all week. Oh, I've got this earth-shattering announcement. That's it. Okay.
That is it. So,
booyah! I think maybe you've been watching too much Heroes, because they also like to make earth-shattering announcements that really aren't that earth-shattering. Like, this week, we're finally going to find out what Bennett's, you know, motivations are. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? We're finally going to get all the answers that we really have been waiting for.
And then we find out we kind of already knew.
We had all the answers all along. There was nothing new.
Yeah, so
I mean,
I don't know what to say.
It's pretty much like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I'm giving it a few more episodes, I guess, but that's about it.